Hi, everyone. I'm Nina, founder of a New Earth Movement, and I'm here in this moment in time to bring to you a brief class and discussion about self-love and the mastery of love, because I'm getting really excited. Next week, we are starting our series, which is titled Mastery of Love, a Self-Love series. And I thought it would be good to just jump on the screen and give those of you who either have done some work with me before, or maybe this work with me is new to you, just to give you a little bit of a flavor of what this series will be about and why I feel it is so important. So it's starting, first I'll start off by saying the class series, it's a 4-part series, and it starts on February 12th, which is right before Valentine's Day. So it's right around that season of Valentine's Day, which is a man-made holiday, which a lot of people kind of go through reflection of maybe wanting a spouse, or maybe wanting to have that idea of romantic love, or kind of going into what you don't have or what you wish you had, or trying to work towards something that you desire. And really a lot of that is surface, when really we are desiring to go more into the depth of feeling what self-love really is. And the key to that is to love ourselves first. And really, I kind of sometimes joke and say it's such a cliche statement. You have to love yourself before you love others, but it's so true. And until we're really filled up with really loving ourselves and accepting ourselves, and we really can't bring that true love to someone else. So it begins at that time, because, back when I was studying with Don Miguel Ruiz and Donna Barbara Emery's in a Toltec Mystery School, we would go to, every year we would go to Teotihuacan for our graduation and really go deep. And sometimes it was on Valentine's Day, and the theme was to learn how to be your own beloved. And what a concept. How to love yourself, how to marry yourself, how to make you number one in your life so that you can really love another. So that's the premise for, let's say, the inspiration for why I'm starting it at that time period this winter. And also another reason why is because, at the heart of a lot of our suffering, I think we really find and discover that we put ourselves last, and that, if we really are honest with ourselves, we can see the areas where we're lacking on showing up for ourselves, or respecting ourselves, or even feeling connected with ourselves. And we're yearning to connect with others. We're yearning to have more healthy relationships with either other people, or our jobs, or life in general. And what's really missing is that connection with ourselves, learning how to be in deep relationship with our true selves. So it starts there. It's such a big topic, and it's also simple, but it's very profound. The deeper we go, the more like veils and more layers to get into the depth of the encounter with the truth of who we are, and the love and the essence of who we are. And, in order to even recognize and learn how to love ourselves, we have to even know that we are love at the source, and that all of the ways that we have learned about love has been through conditioning, has been through wounding, has been through our experiences, or has been through the lenses of a lot of what has been taught to us in our life, whether it's through our teachers, our school, our the television, social media now, this idea that we need to be something that we're not in order to be accepted, this idea that we need to be a little bit more this, a little bit less that, in order to be accepted and loved. and we bit the apple. Somehow in our life, we agreed that that's how we have to be in order to get love. And all the meanwhile, we didn't even realize that we were loved, because we weren't taught that when we were young. We were taught something else, that we're separate from this love. And as soon as we start to believe that we're separate from this love and start to believe that we are the story of our mind, then we get further and further away from the thing that we really are yearning to embody. And so this class series is going to go deeper into that to help us to understand, how did that happen? You know, we're born in this world, infused in the human form with this grace of love, of the presence of love. That's who and what we are, infused in this human body. And before you know it, the development of the conditioned mind through our stories and all the countless things that are reflected back to us through our cultural beliefs or through our social conditioning, our environment. And then before you know it, we are looking out of our eyes in our pure innocence, and we're chasing something outside of us because that's what has been taught. And we're deep, further and further away from the truth of who we are, until one moment in our life, maybe if we're fortunate enough, we start to go down that path of seeking, knowing that there's something greater, knowing that there is more out there than we've been told. It's not really out there, it's in here. And so, you know, we start off on that journey of seeking, of exploring, maybe reading self-help books, maybe trying to go to a yoga class or a sweat lodge, or some sort of a retreat, a silent retreat, or you know, seeking, getting readings, getting reflections. Tell me, why am I not happy? What is the reason why I suffer? And many times we don't realize that we suffer because we believe we're separate from this love, when in fact we have the key to our happiness, and it's right within. It's not separate from us. And that is the ticket to our freedom. So how do we get back to that knowing? How do we get back to that embodiment? There's nowhere really to go to get back to. We are it, end of story. But that's the key, is how do we end that story that we believe that we are not versus we are. So that's what this class series will be about. You know, we need to learn. There's the three masteries in the mastery of love. The first one is the mastery of awareness. We have to become aware. First, become aware that we are suffering. Second, starting to become aware of the stories that we tell ourselves that are dictating our suffering, or that are starting to you know, rule our everyday moment, where we are believing that we're separate. And so awareness is the key. We can't change something unless we become aware of it. Awareness that we are in love. Many of us don't even know that. We're searching. We think a mate is going to give us that answer. We think a better job, or more money, or more this or more that. And that's all surface, that's outside of us. So to become aware of what we really are, and to become aware of the fact that we don't have to believe the old stories anymore, that's so empowering. And when we gain that awareness about ourselves by listening, by being good listeners, by paying attention, by listening to the subtleties of the truth that can be really louder than the noise of our illusions, and starting to follow that, how life can change. And slowly but surely, as we become aware of what we are and what we are not with our awareness, then we can change, then we can transform, then we can begin to master transformation, which simply means to change, to make a change, to no longer believe the story, to maybe take an action differently than we have before, or maybe abstain from another action that's causing suffering. And maybe the action is to dive within and feel the presence of who we are, so that we can expand and grow into knowing that we are one, that we are love. And maybe it is as we start to gain that awareness and listening to make another choice and to transform an old pattern that has kept us in bondage, that has kept us in the limitations of our mind, and transforming that by not believing it and falling into the grace of who we really are. And then we start to enter into the realms of love that we are. And then we become masteries of love. Once we start to feel who we are beyond that illusion, and our cup becomes full and we're not empty. Maybe we make different choices that can respect ourselves first, so that we can actually give from a place of being filled, of having that love come out of us for no reason, and sharing that love and no longer withholding that love. And then we recognize that as we are being this love, that it transforms everything. It transforms everything. When we withhold it, we suffer. And we stay in the story of our mind, and we're in conflict and suffering. But when we make that choice, when we grow awareness and we realize we don't have to, when we make another choice and we transform, and we end up being that love, it speaks for itself. It transforms everything. It makes the changes, and it is powerful. And we are powerful beings of love that are yearning to be more living in this freedom without that obstruction of the illusion, and that we actually are free, that there's nothing really to do but to step into who we are. And so this class is going to help us to really gain the wisdom, the tools, the understanding, and the experience of feeling the grace that we are. The more that we feel that, the more that we have those encounters and those awarenesses highlight the truth of who we are, the more that we can understand and grow our faith in knowing that that's who and what we are, because we have that experience. And all of us do, because all of us are. It's just sometimes we're not looking in the right places. We're believing the lies and the stories. So this class is, we look at the different masteries. We have these encounters with the truth. We take a look and see, what is it that we want to no longer believe? Who are we really? And we move in that direction with more inspiration, with more practices, with more opportunities to grow in this way and to become more empowered. You'll have opportunities to ask questions, to share. Another thing that I feel compelled to bring into this series is tools for inner peace, because at this time on the planet, there seems to be a lot of chaos, a lot of division, a lot of noise, a lot of hooks to almost deliberately keep us from being in our center. And that we need awareness to see where we are getting hooked. Where are we losing our connection with ourselves and our center? Where are we losing our life force by believing something, or by choosing a side of being in division, versus going into our heart, going into the center, going into the breath, going into the calmness of the truth of who we are, and making decisions from there, and recognizing that we have that right here within us in any given moment. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter if there is conflict, or the sudden change of events, or even pain in the body, or pain in a certain situation that you're having. That if you can really work to become aware, to transform, and to come into the center, you can find peace. You can find peace in the midst of chaos. And that's your salvation. That's the ticket to freedom. And in that peace, in that center, we can have access to wisdom, to the answers to all of the things that we are yearning to know. So many of us are trying to figure it out, or we're at a race to try to get the answers, maybe to try to ask somebody else, or go and do this, or keep going to these classes to figure it out, or do this. And we haven't recognized that we have the answers within. But we need to find peace. We need to have the tools to go in with that peace and grace in order to come into communion, and in order to have that voice of the divine that we are speak to us. And the more that we do that, the more inspired we are about life, the more we realize that we are life, the more that we realize that we can have happiness, that there's nowhere else to go to seek, because it's right here within. So these are some gifts, some, let's say a little bit of a entry point into what this series is going to be about. And again, so many people have been saying that more and more, that they're realizing that they don't really love themselves. So come and join us so that we can come together as a group and reflect and ask questions and gain tools and insights for how to learn how to be the love that you are, how to make these changes in your life, to have more respect and to have more joy, and to ultimately have more peace, so that you can walk this earth and be on purpose, to share in the love that you are, to make a difference just by walking out there in the world and allowing that love to come out of you and having a ripple effect on the planet. So with that, I just say, come and join us. I'm looking forward to this series. I'm looking forward to being with you in this way. And we'll see you soon.